So your conclusion states that every promising treatment failure that should have been a success moves the field away from what may be a critical component to the treatment of Alzheimer's disease. So if some of those 13 abandoned treatments you evaluated had been brought to market, how do you feel the landscape of Alzheimer's care would look differently today?
So, for one thing, some of the failed treatments were actually disease modifying type treatments. So, including like gantenerumab, which is still being investigated, but other studies as well. And so when we have failed treatments, we've talked earlier about the fact that we are likely to need every bit of incremental change that we can get. What happens when you get failure in life in general? When we fail, we get that negative feedback and we start looking in other directions. And we don't know that if we had just stayed researching certain things for 5 more years, what could have happened. And having, some of those successes would have encouraged some of the promising routes that were being investigated earlier to continue to receive interest and funding. So we don't know what treatments could have been, pursued if some of these that should have been approved had gotten approved. In fact, I believe that philosophers have shown that when we fail, we make more bad decisions than when we have some positive feedback included. So we start grasping at lots of different things. And so a few years ago, we had there was a panel at CTAD or AAIC, and they were asking, it was after some of the successes with donanemab and lecanemab, and they were asking what they're most excited about in the field. And so John Sims of Eli Lilly said that he was excited about the virtuous cycle that had been created by these successes. And that virtuous cycle, he specifically referred to was the fact that we have some successful treatments, which means that we need to have to have better biomarkers. And so more research was then established in the biomarker community. And now we have more biomarkers available that can better identify, Alzheimer's disease subjects in general, but also the specific severity of the diseases, and then also looking at how the biomarkers themselves might change. And so by not having more successful treatments earlier in the process, we missed out on some of that virtuous cycle, because then those biomarkers can lead to more opportunities for better treatments to pop up, and it would lift the whole field together. By making bad decisions with study designs, bad decisions with outcomes, bad decisions with analysis, we missed out on many treatments that should have come to market, and an earlier access to this virtuous cycle that will lead to better treatments and more precision medicine and all of the many benefits that come from a few successes.